Ajnana-timirandasya ginanjana-shalakaya Chakshurmilitam jena tasmai Shri Gurave namaha Shri Chaitanya-manubhistam stapitam jena bhutale Swayam rupa kadamayam dadati swapadantikam Bandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitangscha Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Hey Krishna Karana Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Thank you so much for being here. We're reading from the contents of the Gita summarized, verse 8. Okay. Hold on a sec. Nahi prapasyami mama panudyad Yacho kamucho sanam indriyanam Avapya bhamo asapatnam ridam Rajyam shuranam apichadipatyam. Yeah. Na, do not. He, certainly. Prapasyami, I see. Mama, my. Anudyat, they can drive away. Yat, that. Shokam, lamentation. Uchoshananam, drying up. Indriyanam, of the senses. Avapya, achieving. Bhumo, on the earth. Asapatnam, without rival. Ridam, prosperous. Rajyam, kingdom. Suranam, of the demigods. Api, even. Cha, also. Adipatyam, supremacy. Srila Prabhupada's translation and purport. I can find no means to drive away this grief which is drying up my senses. I will not be able to destroy it even if I win an unrivaled kingdom on the earth with sovereignty like the demigods in heaven. Together? I can find no means to drive away this grief which is drying up my senses. I will not be able to destroy it even if I win an unrivaled kingdom on the earth with sovereignty like the demigods in heaven. In heaven. Although Arjuna was putting forward so many arguments based on the knowledge of the principles of religion and moral codes, it appears that he was unable to solve his real problem without the help of the spiritual master, Lord Sri Krishna. He could understand that his so-called knowledge was useless in driving away his problems, which were drying up his whole existence, and it was impossible for him to solve such perplexities without the help of a spiritual master like Lord Krishna. Academic knowledge, scholarship, high position, etc., are all useless in solving the problems of life. Help can only be given by a spiritual master like Krishna. Therefore, the conclusion is that a spiritual master who is 100% Krishna conscious is the bona fide spiritual master, for he can solve the problems of life. Lord Chaitanya said that one who is master in the science of Krishna consciousness, regardless of his social position, is the real spiritual master. Kiba vipra kiba nyasi shudra kenenai jai Krishna tattva veta say guru hai. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 8:127. It does not matter whether a person is a vipra, learned scholar in Vedic wisdom, or is born in a lower family, or is in the renounced order of life. If he is master in the science of Krishna, he is the perfect and bona fide spiritual master. So without being a master in the science of Krishna consciousness, no one is a bona fide spiritual master. It is also said in the Vedic literatures, Satkarma nipuno vipra mantra tantra visharada avaishnava gurur nasyad vaishnava swapacho guru. A scholarly Brahmin, expert in all subjects of Vedic knowledge, is unfit to become a spiritual master without being a Vaishnava, or expert in the science of Krishna consciousness. But a person born in a family of a lower caste can become a spiritual master if he is a Vaishnava, or Krishna conscious. The problems of material existence, birth, old age, disease, and death cannot be counteracted by accumulation of wealth and economic development. In many parts of the world, there are states which are replete with all facilities of life, which are full of wealth and economically developed. Yet the problems of material existence are still present. They are seeking peace in different ways, but they can achieve real happiness only if they consult Krishna or the Bhagavad-Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, which constitute the science of Krishna, or the bona fide representative of Krishna, the man in Krishna consciousness. If economic development and material comforts could drive away one's lamentations for family, social, national, or international inebrities, then Arjuna would not have said that even an unrivaled kingdom on earth or supremacy like that of the demigods in the heavenly planets would not be able to drive away his lamentations. He sought, therefore, refuge in Krishna consciousness, and that is the right path for peace and harmony. Economic development or supremacy over the world can be finished at any moment by the cataclysms of material nature. Even elevation into a higher planetary situation, as men are now seeking a place on the moon planet, can also be finished at one stroke. The Bhagavad-Gita confirms this, Shine punye martilokam vishanti. When the results of pious activities are finished, one falls down again from the peak of happiness to the lowest status of life. Many politicians of the world have fallen down in that way. Such downfalls only constitute more causes for lamentation. Therefore, if we want to curb lamentation for good, then we have to take shelter of Krishna, as Arjuna is seeking to do. So Arjuna asked Krishna to solve his problem definitely, and that is the way of Krishna consciousness. Jai Srila Prabhupada. It's interesting that in the previous verses, in the previous verse, in text 7, Arjuna tells Krishna that he's confused about his duty, and he basically surrenders to Krishna as his disciple. He says, now I'm your disciple, and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. And then in text 9, it looks like Arjuna had already made up his mind. He says, Govinda, I shall not fight. So on the one hand, he's asking Krishna to instruct him as to what to do, but he makes a statement that I shall not fight. So it's a kind of, I thought it was kind of sweet, because we're the same. We say, okay, I'm surrendered to you now. Srila Prabhupada, tell me what to do. And then, but we've kind of got a block there, which is what, it's said that the duty of the spiritual master, or the role of the spiritual master, is to remove all the impediments within the disciple and lead him forward in progressive Krishna consciousness. So here we see that the task ahead is for Krishna to remove the bodily concept of life from Arjuna's consciousness. And as Prabhupada has mentioned many times, the ABC of Krishna consciousness is to understand that we're not these bodies, that the body is just the material, the subtle and gross bodies are just a symptom of the disease of the soul, for the conditioned soul. Would anyone like to offer some suggestion as to what the root causes of this disease is? The root cause of the material disease.
Our desire to order the woman till we left Krishna and we wanted to be God.
Yeah.
So we want to control material nature and we want to fulfill our material desires.
Yeah. Basically, it's in the Bible as well. This lust, anger, and greed. Yes, the desire to enjoy and Lord, be the Lord, be God. So, because that is an impossibility, so we get the opportunity to pretend, to do it in a illusory or fake way. So this material world is the world of pretend. The cheaters and the cheated. We play different roles, but they're not ever satisfying. No one, absolutely no one, in material consciousness is happy or satisfied. Everyone is seeking satisfaction in a place where it can't exist. Prabhupada gives the example of he mentions that he was watching a bird peck at its reflection. The bird was just like pecking at the reflection, trying to make some contact, trying to get get something going from the reflection. And Prabhupada laughed and said, it's not possible. So here we see Arjun, he's being asked to literally kill his grandfather Bhishma, his brothers, his uncles, his teachers, and one might ask for what reason. The reason is that Krishna tried through persuasion to persuade the Kurus to give the Pandavas some leeway to rule. He tried through persuasion. They tried through politics, and none of that worked. So finally, Prabhupada mentions that if those two methods don't work in any situation, then the last method is ad baculum, or the stick, war, or force. So the reason this religious war is sometimes necessary or spiritual, you might call it violence used with a spiritual aim. If we don't have a Krishna conscious leader, then the purpose of life, which is, as we know, self-realization as opposed to sense gratification, the purpose of life of the citizens can't be fulfilled. And unless we are freed from the cycle of birth and death and reinstated in our constitutional activities in the spiritual world, we're not happy, and Krishna's not happy or pleased either. So the whole purpose of the whole reason that we have life, we're part and parcel of Krishna. Krishna created us for his to participate in his enjoyment, and he doesn't want us to miss out. So, it's unfair to say modern leaders. It's since time immemorial. Godless leaders are always trying to control and lord over the citizens in order to extract as much service from them as possible for their selfish pleasure. Actually, it's not pleasure. Their lives, the lives of godless leaders are filled with fear and nasty situations, which they perpetuate, and we find the world in a very Prabhupada would often say, and that was 50 years ago, that the world is in a very precarious situation. And indeed, whenever the world is ruled by godless leaders, the world is always in a precarious situation, because their mission is to exploit the resources of nature and practically ruin the world in the process. And we can see that especially at the time we're living in now, where we're at a junction that if we don't do the right thing, which is to spread Krishna consciousness, then things are not going to get better. So actually, we really don't have a choice. In a sense, the guns pointed at our heads. If we don't preach Krishna consciousness vigorously and with conviction that Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement can actually bring about the change that we all would like to see, like a healthy, happy society all over the world, peace, prosperity, all the things that Krishna wants for us. So this is the reason that Krishna is personally instructing Arjuna to take up the fight, and as we know, Arjuna represents each and every one of us. Arjuna himself was not an illusion; he was just playing the part, and the script, the drama, is so perfect that if we follow it carefully, we are sure to come out successfully. So Prabhupada was once, maybe not once, but he was asked which was his favorite verse, or the verse that he held dearest, And he replied, does anyone know? Yes. Yes. Yeah. Okay. I know it. Yasya deve parabhaktir yata deve tata guru tasyaite katitahi artha prakasante mahatmana. Only unto those great souls who have implicit faith both in the Lord and the spiritual master are all the imports of the Vedic knowledge automatically revealed. So, how to develop this faith? Because it seems like it's a catch-22, that if you don't have faith, then the imports of Vedic knowledge won't be revealed. So how to develop faith? And how do we develop faith? Implicit faith in the spiritual master. And
Mostly by chanting Brahma mantra.
yeah.
The more purified, and the more purified you go, the nearer work, the nearer to what you go. So then, I think, naturally, logically, your devotional service, your belief in God is increasing, I think.
Yeah, by associating, like they say, the proof of the pudding is in the taste. So by associating with the pure devotee and with the devotees, by following the process, by following the instructions, and Prabhupada said that actually there's no price for Krishna consciousness except our sincerity. That if we're sincere and we don't want to be cheated, then as soon as we contact the Krishna consciousness movement, we will be enthused to participate. So some people, unfortunately, they're called skeptics. They've had so much bad experience that they don't believe that there is such a movement that can fulfill the deepest desires within, and everyone's deepest desire. Ultimately, everyone's deepest desire is to be happy. We discuss that so many times. So here, Krishna is preparing Arjuna to give up all considerations, like sarva dharman parityaja, to give up all other considerations of different types of dharma, like what's right, what's wrong, and just focus on the mission to reinstitute Maharaj Yudhishthir, or a devotee of the Lord, on the throne. Again, because this was Krishna's desire. Arjuna was thinking that he didn't want to fight his relatives, because at the end of the day, if they were all dead and gone, what was the use of his kingdom? You want to enjoy life with your family, friends, even if there's, conflict sometimes. Still, you want to enjoy with them. But that's not Krishna's plan. Krishna has something much greater in store for all of us, because after all, if we want to enjoy with our friends and family and society and all the rest, at the end, we all have to face birth, disease, old age, and death. It's a very imperfect type of enjoyment, and there's so many problems trying to enjoy. There's envy, other people are envious, there's competition, it's practically impossible. So, because the Kurus were propagating a life of godlessness or sense gratification, then Krishna, obviously, he doesn't approve of this, because he knows it's a futile direction. So therefore he wanted Arjuna to fight. And the whole of the Bhagavad-Gita is just such a wonderful and patient explanation by Krishna to Arjuna, step by step, and so scientific about the nature of material existence. Everything is just so logically presented, and if we as devotees can actually understand it, if we can actually absorb it, imbibe Krishna's teachings to Arjuna into our psyche, and live by them, boy, we could have and hopefully we will have a huge, even bigger waves of Krishna consciousness than we've seen so far, because so many books are going out, so many devotees are preaching, so many devotees are practicing, and the responsibility of each and every devotee, each and every one of us, is to actually take very seriously that we're here to help and encourage and enliven each other to take inspiration and actually really put into practice in a very dynamic way Krishna's teachings to Arjuna. Once Srila Prabhupada asked me how a particular temple was doing that I had just come from, and I replied to him, Srila Prabhupada, it's doing really well, there's a lot of preaching, it's very, very dynamic. And Prabhupada was very pleased to hear that. And he said, yes, that is how a temple should be, dynamic. And we're so fortunate here in Vrindavan that Prabhupada and his wonderful, sincere crew of devotees here are fueling this dynamic atmosphere. Over the years, this temple has just become such a stronghold of Krishna consciousness, thanks to the efforts of all the wonderful devotees here. So we need to keep this mood growing, and we'll definitely see wonderful things, more wonderful things happening by sticking very strictly to Srila Prabhupada's example and instructions. So, getting back to why it's so important for Arjun to jump into the battle wholeheartedly, is because the sooner a society can be brought back to Krishna consciousness, the better it is for everyone. So, yeah, it's a very, very, very wonderful opportunity we have to hear the exact same instructions that have been eternally propagated since time immemorial. As Krishna mentions, he spoke this science of God realization millions of years ago to the sun god, the very God by whose energy life on all the planets in this universe is being sustained. We get to hear that very same message today. It's just so incredible, and the message is so powerful that if we actually take it to heart, like this whole movement, Prabhupada mentions that this movement is an incarnation of Krishna. This movement is Krishna. Krishna is here. We're living in Krishna. We're living with Krishna. This is Krishna. We're moving with Krishna. This is his movement. So what an incredible situation we're in. And we just need to, through, as you were mentioning, Prabhu, through chanting, Atashi Krishna Namadi Navavet Grayam Indrayai Sevan Mukhe Jivado Swayameva Sporatyada, that we can't experience Krishna consciousness with dull material senses. So, as the example is given by putting the iron rod in the fire, the rod becomes fire. It acquires the same qualities as fire. It becomes as good as fire. So, by associating with Krishna directly through his holy names, by the mercy of the parampara, because these holy names are given to us through the parampara system. It's said that if anyone were to receive the holy name outside of the parampara, then it's nishphalam. There's no effect. But we're so fortunate we're getting this holy name through Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, through Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's disciplic succession. So it's like Chintamani. It's got all the potencies. What is the second verse of Shishastakam? We could say it together. Nam namakari bahuda nija sarva shaktis tatrapita niyamita smarane lakalaha itadishi tava kripa bhagavan mamapi durdaivam idisham ihajini nanuragaha that all of Krishna's potencies are invested in the holy names. All of Krishna's potencies are invested in the holy names. So, yeah, we've got it all. We just have to encourage each other to take advantage as much as we can, following in Prabhupada's footsteps, by developing this atmosphere of love and trust. Are there any questions or comments?
Just finish with
Sorry.
how does this work? I don't know. Mataji, you just ended with chanting the holy names is full of potency. My question, and for this case, is it the 16 names in the Hare Krishna Mahamantra specifically, or is it meant for all names like Krishna, Rama, Vishnu, Shyam Sundar, whatever, all names of Krishna?
Well, all the names of Krishna, but the Mahamantra is specifically powerful. That's why it's called the Mahamantra.
So when they talking about the holy names, is full of us. Mostly it is meant to indicate the Mahamantra,
Yeah.
Hare Krishna Mahamantra.
But the holy names are absolute. So they're all absolutely powerful. But
But
specifically,
for Kali Yuga and for
yeah,
now it is
specifically.
the
For eternally, the Mahamantra is eternally the Mahamantra. It's chanted in all ages.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Mataji is giving the example of iron rod in the fire. So similarly, the devotees, they are chanting, they are this one, they are just like in the fire, or they are different from that.
So
The devotees who are associating with devotees and chanting and they are attaining the program, they are just like stick in the fire, or they are different.
well, it depends on how much we're putting our heart and soul, our being into our chanting and association. Everything depends on sincerity. If we're doing we all have that experience that if we focus and we do something with love and sincerity, then that's the correct way to do it, and we get the correct result. But if we're just doing it officially or half-heartedly, then we get an official or a half-hearted result. It depends. Whatever we put in, we get out. But on top of that, there's mercy. Like sometimes we may not even put everything into what we're doing, but we get some causeless mercy. But as devotees, we should be praying for each other all the time. We should be praying for each other. We should be praying for everyone. We should be praying for the movement, that we all give our best. We all give our best so that we, our relationships with each other are a reflection of our relationship with Srila Prabhupada and Krishna. So, we've all experienced that we have some up days and some down days. So, one day I might be feeling I'm not feeling connected or sincere, but the person next to me is very fired up, so then I'll be inspired by them. So the thing is that if each of us can try to be, if we can pray to be connected always, and if we can pray for each other, then, we'll have, there won't be any question about whether we're in the fire or not. Does that make any sense to you?
Okay. Just like we see Prabhupada in the beginning, he sent devotees here and there. They were not pure devotees. They were just given order by spiritual master.
Yeah.
And wherever they went, they got success. So yet sometimes we mention you have to be pure and this one. So how can you make this understand that those times when devotees went outside and started the movement, they distributing books and this one, how they got this favorable that everybody followed them, and so many devotees, they were connected with Prabhupada, and there are many of them now, we cannot see them, but how can we understand that this movement was brought by them, and after that they left for some other reason. So when you mention pure devotees, so how can we understand that the purity is there?
Well, the purity is there as long as we're following the instruction. And sometimes it may look like someone is not, it may look like on the surface that someone is not following the instruction. But we're not so much able to judge that. We don't really know what's going on in someone's heart. But the main thing is that if devotees are attached to Srila Prabhupada, then you were mentioning the pioneer devotees. It was Lord and it still is Lord Chaitanya's desire that this movement spread. Prabhupada specifically empowered those devotees to do what they did. And there was a very loving, personal mood. That is Prabhupada's mood. It's very loving, it's very personal. And but in the material world, we are prone to the capture of Maya one way or another. And that's why association is so important, and that natural and loving association. That, if you really care, we know that Srila Prabhupada really cares about everyone. So if at that time, if a devotee happened to step outside, Prabhupada was always anxious to get them back. But he never forced or anything. But as long as if Prabhupada, there were such amazing devotees because they had the capacity and the faith to fulfill Prabhupada's instruction. So we can't understand the workings of the Lord and His devotees. All we can do is respect everyone's service and wish everyone well, and just do the best we can to keep a very Prabhupada and Krishna conscious, personal and sincere atmosphere. Not be envious, just actually.
Thank you.
Okay, I hope I didn't go on too long.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I wanted to ask you that in your class, you said that this movement itself is incarnation of Krishna, and this was the best sentence I liked in the class. Did you hear it, or read it, or somebody told, or you are saying?
No, Prabhupada says.
Oh.
It's in Srimad Bhagavatam
Okay.
that this movement is an incarnation.
I didn't pay any attention like ever I heard this, and this was the sweetest and the best
Yes,
sentence.
it's great. It's great. Thank you.
Just had a comment. It was related to what he said. Is that working?
Yeah, it's working.
Okay. You were talking about faith and how we develop the faith. And it relates to something that devotees said.
What's your name, Prabhu?
Harbhajan Das.
Karbhajan Das.
The reason that the devotees were able to do what they did because of their faith. And if Prabhupada told them, they knew it could be done. They just was completely sold out to Srila Prabhupada because of the love exchange. And so they knew that if Prabhupada told us to do it, it can be done. Somehow we have to do it.
Yeah. It wasn't based on, well, I have to have such and such amount of money or Lakshmi before I go out and do this. It was based totally on transcendental faith. But yeah, I mean, if everyone's treated with love and respect and care, there's no reason for anyone to ever leave. Was that kind of the thrust of your question, or was there something more to it?
Yeah, something more, but okay, whatever you say.
Okay. All right. Yeah, sometimes, it's like Krishna doesn't force anyone to. Sometimes you have to go through things to learn things. But once someone has come to the movement and done service and associated with devotees, we all know, Prabhupada has said so many times that Krishna will never leave them, and Prabhupada, as long as they want to come back, whenever they want to come back, Krishna is always making arrangements for everyone. Okay. Thank you everyone. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.